Chosen ones. The walls are closing in on someone who thought they were untouchable, and tonight their fortress of lies collapses into confession. Right now, someone who orchestrated your character assassination sits in a room alone, their hands shaking as they rehearse the truth they're about to spill. The puppet master who pulled strings to make you dance to their false narrative has become tangled in their own web, and the only way out is through exposing everything they've done to you. They never expected this moment would come. When they first launched their campaign against you, they felt invincible, protected by the shadows and the silence of their accomplices. But karma has perfect timing, and the universe keeps meticulous records. What they're about to confess isn't just their own role in destroying your reputation. They're about to expose the entire conspiracy, name every conspirator, reveal every strategy they used to paint you as the villain in a story where you were actually the hero. Picture a house of cards built during a windstorm. That's what their lies have become. Each deception required another to support it. Each false story demanded more elaborate fabrications to maintain credibility. Now the weight of maintaining this fictional architecture has become unbearable, and one card is about to fall, taking the entire structure with it. The person preparing to confess isn't doing this out of conscience or sudden moral awakening. They're cornered, desperate, facing consequences they never anticipated when they started this war against you. Maybe it's legal pressure, financial ruin, or the discovery that their co-conspirators have turned on them. Whatever forced their hand, their confession is about to validate everything you've known in your bones but couldn't prove. Every instinct you had about being targeted, every suspicion about coordinated attacks on your character, every feeling that something orchestrated was happening behind the scenes, all of it was real, and tonight the proof emerges from the mouth of your enemy. The timing of this revelation is no accident. The universe has been orchestrating this moment, allowing their deception to reach its peak before engineering its spectacular collapse. Every delay in justice was actually preparation for this complete vindication. Every moment you wondered why truth wasn't prevailing was the universe giving them enough rope to hang themselves completely. The divine timing ensures that when the truth emerges, it will be undeniable, comprehensive, and devastating to those who wronged you. Consider the nights you spent questioning yourself, wondering if maybe you were wrong, if perhaps their narrative had some validity. Those moments of doubt were part of your refinement process. The universe was teaching you to distinguish between external narratives and internal truth. Every attack that didn't break you was actually strengthening your ability to stand firm in your authentic self. The pressure they applied was creating a diamond where they thought they were crushing coal. Let me tell you about the mastermind behind your suffering, because understanding their psychology explains why their confession is inevitable. This person studied you like a predator studies prey, but not because you were weak. They targeted you because your strength terrified them. Your authentic power, the kind that radiates from someone who knows exactly who they are, threatened their entire existence built on manipulation and false facades. They recognized in you something they could never possess through their schemes and strategies. Genuine respect from others, natural charisma that couldn't be manufactured, success that came from actual talent rather than political maneuvering. Your very existence exposed them as counterfeit, and rather than elevate themselves to your level, they chose to drag you down to theirs. The first time they encountered you, something inside them recoiled. It wasn't hatred initially, it was fear. Fear that your authenticity would expose their artificiality. Fear that your genuine connections would reveal their transactional relationships. Fear that your earned success would highlight their manipulated achievements. This fear metastasized into obsession, and obsession transformed into a mission to destroy what they couldn't become. They spent months studying your patterns, your relationships, your communication style. They took notes on who you trusted, what you valued, where you were vulnerable. This wasn't casual observation, this was systematic surveillance designed to map every aspect of your life they could weaponize. They turned themselves into an expert on you, knowing more about your movements and connections than some of your closest friends. The campaign they built against you was methodical, almost scientific in its precision. They didn't just spread random rumors or casual gossip. They constructed an entire alternative reality where every one of your strengths became a weakness in the stories they told. Your confidence became arrogance in their narrative. Your success became evidence of corruption. Your kindness became manipulation. They understood that the most believable lies contain fragments of truth, twisted just enough to poison perception. The sophistication of their attack reveals something crucial about your power. Mediocre people don't inspire such elaborate destruction campaigns. Only those who represent genuine threat to false power structures receive this level of coordinated assault. The resources they mobilized, the people they recruited, the time they invested, all of it testifies to how significant your presence was in their world. You were the truth that threatened their lives simply by existing. Each phase of their campaign was carefully orchestrated. First, they planted seeds of doubt through seemingly innocent observations, small comments about your behavior that seemed like concern but were actually poison. Then they escalated to manufactured incidents, creating situations where your normal responses could be framed as problematic. Finally, they moved to full character assassination, weaving together their fabricated evidence into a narrative that seemed credible to those who didn't know better. But here's where their plan revealed its fatal flaw. Building lies requires constant energy and vigilance. Truth simply exists. While they exhausted themselves maintaining their fiction, coordinating stories with accomplices, remembering which lies they'd told to whom, you simply continued being yourself. That consistency, that unchanging authenticity, created a pressure their fabricated reality couldn't withstand. The second player in this drama deserves special attention because their motivation was pure, primal jealousy. This person wakes up every morning confronted by your existence, reminded of everything they lack, not material things but qualities of character they know they'll never possess. The ease with which you navigate challenges that would destroy them, the natural magnetism that draws people to you while they have to scheme for attention, the respect you command simply by being present while they beg for validation through manipulation. Their jealousy began as admiration. Believe it or not, when they first encountered you, they were drawn to your energy, attracted to your authenticity. They wanted to be close to you, to learn from you, to perhaps absorb some of your magic through proximity. But proximity to greatness only amplifies mediocrity. The closer they got to you, the more apparent their own inadequacies became. Instead of being inspired to improve, they chose to be insulted by your existence. Jealousy is unique among negative emotions because it requires constant acknowledgement of the other person's superiority. Every moment this person spent hating you was a moment they had to admit, at least subconsciously, that you possessed something they desperately wanted but could never earn. Rather than use that recognition as motivation for self-improvement, they chose destruction as their path. This jealous accomplice became the engine of the rumor mill, spreading every lie with enthusiasm that bordered on obsession. They didn't just repeat the mastermind's fabrications, they embellished them, added their own poison to the mixture, created new angles of attack. Their contribution wasn't just spreading lies, but making them more vicious, more personal, more designed to wound rather than just discredit. The energy they devoted to your destruction could have been used to build their own success. The hours they spent crafting lies about you could have been invested in developing their own talents. The passion they poured into tearing you down could have lifted them up, but that would have required actual work, genuine effort, authentic growth. Destroying you seemed easier than becoming worthy of the respect you naturally commanded. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Their obsession with you became their identity. Every conversation somehow circled back to you. Every success in your life triggered a crisis in theirs. Every moment of happiness you experienced felt like a personal attack on them. They stopped living their own life and started living in opposition to yours. You became the main character in their story, while they relegated themselves to the role of bitter antagonist. Watch how their jealousy has already started consuming them from within. The energy they've spent trying to destroy you has left them depleted, hollow, increasingly desperate. People around them have started noticing the obsession, the way every conversation somehow returns to you, the gleeful way they celebrate any perceived misfortune in your life. Their mask has been slipping, and soon it will fall completely. The third conspirator might be the most contemptible of all, the silent enabler who knew the truth from the beginning but chose complicity over courage. This person had access to information that could have cleared your name immediately. They possessed the credibility and position to shut down the lies with a single statement of truth. Instead, they chose silence, and silence in the face of injustice is its own form of violence. This enabler wasn't just a passive observer. Their silence was active participation. Every day they chose not to speak was a day they chose to let lies flourish. Every opportunity they had to correct the narrative and declined was a moment they chose corruption over truth. They want to believe their hands are clean because they didn't spread the lies themselves, but their silence was the soil in which those lies grew. Why did they stay quiet when they could have spoken? Perhaps your destruction served their purposes, removing you as competition or obstacle to their own ambitions. Maybe they simply enjoyed the drama, the excitement of watching someone's reputation burn while they held the water that could have extinguished the flames. Or perhaps they were simply cowards, too weak to stand against the tide of lies, choosing self-preservation over justice. The fascinating thing about this silent enabler is how they justified their inaction to themselves. They created elaborate rationalizations for why speaking up wouldn't matter, why it wasn't their responsibility, why you somehow deserved what was happening. They told themselves they were staying neutral, remaining objective, avoiding drama. But neutrality in the face of injustice is just cowardice, wearing the mask of wisdom. This person has been carrying the weight of their complicity for months, and that weight has been growing heavier with each passing day. Every time they see you maintaining your dignity despite the false accusations, their guilt multiplies. Every moment they remain silent adds another stone to the burden crushing their conscience. The psychological pressure of maintaining their neutrality while knowing the truth has become unbearable. They've started showing physical symptoms of their moral crisis. Sleepless nights wrestling with their conscience, anxiety attacks when your name comes up in conversation, the constant fear that their complicity will be discovered. Their body is rebelling against the lies their mouth refuses to correct. The truth they've been suppressing is literally making them sick. Their internal conflict has been building toward this moment of rupture. They've been caught between competing fears. Fear of the consequences if they speak, fear of the guilt if they don't, fear of your judgment for their initial silence, fear of their co-conspirators' retaliation. But guilt has a way of growing stronger than fear, especially when it's compounded daily by the evidence of ongoing injustice. Something shifted when you stopped playing their game. They expected you to defend yourself desperately, to become emotional and reactive, to give them more ammunition for their attacks. Instead, you became an observer, stepping back to watch their machinery of deception with the detached clarity of someone who knows their own truth. This transformation from victim to witness changed everything. The mastermind couldn't understand why their psychological warfare wasn't working. The jealous accomplice couldn't comprehend why you weren't crumbling. The silent enabler began questioning whether they'd chosen the right side. Your refusal to dance to their music left them conducting an orchestra with no audience. You started noticing patterns they thought were invisible. The coordination between supposedly independent sources of gossip, the similar language used in different attacks on your character, the timing of various revelations designed for maximum damage. Your observation skills sharpened by necessity, you began mapping their entire network of deception. The way you handled their attacks became a masterclass in spiritual warfare. Instead of meeting their low vibration with matching energy, you elevated above it. You didn't fight in the mud where they wanted you. You rose above the battlefield entirely, watching their skirmishes from a height they couldn't reach. This shift in perspective allowed you to see the entire war, not just individual battles. Your refusal to be triggered by their provocations created a mirror that reflected their own dysfunction back at them. Every attack they launched expecting a reaction bounced back, showing them their own aggressive desperation. Every lie they told expecting you to scramble to defend yourself instead highlighted their own dishonesty. You became a walking revelation of their corruption simply by maintaining your authenticity. More importantly, you started seeing the cracks in their alliance, the mastermind's frustration with their accomplices' incompetence, the jealous person's growing resentment at being used as a tool rather than treated as an equal, the silent enablers mounting anxiety about their role in this injustice. The conspiracy that seemed so solid from the outside was rotting from within. These cracks weren't random, they were inevitable. Alliances built on shared corruption rather than shared values always fracture under pressure. When people unite to destroy rather than create, their union carries the seeds of its own dissolution. The very qualities that made them willing to conspire against you, their dishonesty, disloyalty, and lack of integrity, guaranteed they would eventually turn on each other. The precipitating event that triggers tonight's confession could be any number of things. Maybe the mastermind overreached, trying to expand their web of deception to trap others and drawing the attention of someone more powerful. Perhaps the jealous accomplice finally realized they were being used and discarded, their loyalty rewarded with contempt, or the silent enabler simply reached their breaking point, unable to carry the weight of their guilt for another day. There's also the possibility that external forces have intervened, legal investigations uncovering their schemes, financial audits revealing connected corruption, new evidence emerging that makes their lies impossible to maintain. Sometimes the universe arranges circumstances that force truth to surface despite every effort to suppress it. The cosmic justice system has been building its case, and tonight it delivers its verdict. The pressure has been building from multiple directions. Their other victims have started comparing notes. Patterns of manipulation have become visible across multiple targets. What they thought were isolated campaigns of destruction have been revealed as a serial pattern of abuse. The mastermind's history of destroying others has created a coalition of the wronged, and that coalition has been quietly building its case. What matters is that someone has been cornered by circumstances of their own making. Their options have narrowed to two: maintain the lie and face complete destruction, or confess everything and hope for mercy. Self-preservation, that most basic instinct, has overcome their loyalty to the conspiracy. They're about to save themselves by exposing everyone else. This won't be a controlled or strategic disclosure. When someone who's built their life on lies finally breaks, the truth comes pouring out like water through a broken dam. Years of suppressed guilt, resentment toward co-conspirators, and fear of consequences create a confession that's comprehensive and devastating. The confession will begin with small admissions, testing the waters of truth, but once they start speaking, they won't be able to stop. Each truth demands another to make sense. Each revelation requires context that exposes more deception. The trickle becomes a stream, the stream becomes a river, and the river becomes a flood that washes away everything they built against you. They're going to reveal things you never suspected. The true scope of the conspiracy, how many people were involved, how long the planning took, how they coordinated their attacks. They'll expose the methods they used to manufacture evidence against you, the way they manipulated others into believing their lies, the psychological tactics they employed to isolate you from potential allies. The details will be shocking in their banality, the hours they spent in group chats coordinating their stories, the documents they created to track their lies and ensure consistency, the meetings they held to plan their next moves against you. The amount of infrastructure required to maintain their false narrative will reveal just how threatened they were by your simple existence, but more revealing than the methods will be the motivations, the petty reasons that drove supposedly rational people to dedicate months of their lives to destroying yours. Professional jealousy, romantic resentment, financial envy, or simply the twisted pleasure some people take in causing others pain. The banality of evil will be on full display. You'll learn about conversations you weren't supposed to know about, moments when someone pretended to support you while actively working for your destruction, times when you extended kindness to someone who was simultaneously planning your downfall. The depth of betrayal will be breathtaking, but it will also be liberating. Finally, you'll have confirmation that your instincts were correct all along. As this confession emerges, watch how quickly the social dynamics around you shift. People who treated you with suspicion suddenly remember your value. Those who believed the lies scramble to distance themselves from the liars. The entire narrative structure built around your guilt reorganizes itself around your proven innocence. The speed of this shift will be dizzying. Yesterday's critics become today's supporters. People who wouldn't return your calls suddenly want to reconnect. Those who whispered about you behind your back now speak loudly in your defense. The same social current that carried lies about you now carries the truth of your vindication. Some will approach you with genuine apologies, having realized they were manipulated into believing lies about you. Others will pretend they never doubted you, rewriting history to place themselves on the right side. A few will simply disappear, too ashamed of their participation to face you. Each response reveals the character of the person offering it. The domino effect begins immediately. Once the first confessor breaks, others rush to minimize their own culpability by exposing their co-conspirators. The jealous accomplice, realizing they've been betrayed, turns on the mastermind with vicious intensity. They reveal private conversations, share saved messages, provide evidence of coordination that the mastermind thought was destroyed. The silent enabler, desperate to cleanse themselves of guilt, provides the crucial testimony about what they knew and when they knew it. They admit to their cowardice, but also reveal information that could have cleared your name from the beginning. Their confession is particularly damaging because it proves the conspiracy existed at levels the others tried to deny. Even peripheral players start coming forward. People who played minor roles in spreading the lies now rush to confess their small parts, hoping that early admission will earn them forgiveness. The conspiracy that once seemed so powerful fragments into individuals desperately trying to save themselves from the consequences of their collective action. Even the mastermind, facing complete exposure, attempts damage control by shifting blame. They claim misunderstanding, say their actions were misinterpreted, suggest they were manipulated by others into targeting you. The same weapons they used against you become the instruments of their mutual destruction. The mastermind's attempts at damage control only make things worse. Every excuse they offer reveals more calculation behind their actions. Every justification exposes more premeditation. Every attempt to minimize their role actually highlights how central they were to the entire conspiracy. Their words become the nails in their own coffin. Watch how they scramble to rewrite history now that their version has been exposed as fiction. They'll claim they were trying to protect others from you, that their lies were based on misunderstandings, that they genuinely believed what they were saying at the time. But every excuse reveals the depth of their deception. Every justification exposes how calculated their campaign really was. The more they talk, the more they condemn themselves with their own words. The universe has orchestrated this moment with perfect precision. Every delay in justice was actually allowing them to dig themselves deeper. Every moment you suffered under false accusations was building the pressure for this explosive revelation. The cosmic scales of justice don't just balance, they tip dramatically in favor of truth when the right moment arrives. Tonight is that moment, and the weight of their lies is about to crush them completely. Your vindication isn't just complete, it's overwhelming. Every lie told about you gets exposed as projection. Every accusation they made gets revealed as deflection from their own guilt. Every character flaw they attributed to you gets proven to exist in them instead. The false narrative required them to ignore your actual character, dismiss your real contributions, and fabricate motivations that never existed. But truth has gravity. It pulls everything toward itself eventually. The testimony of people who never valued honesty becomes the very proof of your honesty. Their confession reveals something they never intended to acknowledge, the extraordinary nature of who you are. Think about it. The amount of energy, planning, and coordination required to build a false narrative about you speaks to the threat your authentic self posed to their artificial world. You don't invest that much effort in destroying someone unless they represent something powerful. While they were playing political games and building elaborate deceptions, you were simply being yourself. That authenticity proved more powerful than all their schemes combined. You didn't have to become like them to defeat them. You didn't have to compromise your integrity or abandon your values. You simply had to remain true to yourself, and that truth became their undoing. This experience hasn't diminished you, it's transformed you into something more powerful than you were before. You've developed abilities that can't be taught, only earned through trial. The ability to see through facades instantly, to spot manipulation from great distances, to understand the difference between authentic connection and transactional relationships. The skills you've developed go beyond simple discernment. You now possess a kind of spiritual radar that detects deception before it fully forms. You can sense when someone's energy doesn't match their words. You can feel the dissonance between what people say and what they mean. These abilities make you virtually impossible to deceive again. You know now who stands with you when the narrative is uncertain and who has the courage to speak truth when lies are more convenient. You've learned to differentiate between those who support you and those who simply position themselves advantageously. These aren't just survival skills, they're superpowers that will serve you for the rest of your life. Most importantly, you've learned to trust your own judgment completely. When everyone around you was telling you that you were wrong about yourself, you held on to your truth. When the entire social environment was gaslighting you, you maintained your grip on reality. That level of self-trust is unshakable and invaluable. The new landscape that emerges after their confession is completely transformed. People who participated in your character assassination find themselves discredited and isolated. Those who remained neutral get exposed as cowards. The few who stood with you during the dark times get revealed as people of genuine integrity. This isn't just vindication, it's purification. Your social environment has been cleansed of people willing to believe lies without evidence, individuals who could be manipulated into betrayal, those who would sacrifice truth for convenience. The relationships that remain and the new ones you'll build will be based on tested truth, proven loyalty, and genuine respect. The universe has used this trial to sort the wheat from the chaff in your life. Every person revealed their true character through how they responded to the lies about you. Some failed the test spectacularly, others passed with flying colors, but everyone showed you who they really are when pressure was applied. People will approach you with admiration for how you handled this trial. They'll be drawn not just to your talents and achievements, but to your proven resilience, your demonstrated integrity, your ability to maintain authenticity under extreme pressure. These are rare qualities that command genuine respect. Your story will become legendary in your circles. The person who maintained their truth against coordinated lies. The individual who stayed calm while others created chaos. The one who emerged from character assassination not just intact but elevated. This story will precede you, creating a reputation that no future lie can touch. The ripple effects of this vindication extend far beyond your immediate circle. People who don't even know you personally will hear about what happened and how you handled it. Your example will inspire others facing similar attacks to maintain their integrity. Your story becomes a beacon of hope for anyone dealing with false accusations and coordinated campaigns of destruction. You've not just won your own battle, you've created a template for victory that others can follow. There's a spiritual dimension to what's happening tonight that goes beyond mere human drama. The universe has been using this entire experience to prepare you for something greater. Every attack you endured was actually strengthening spiritual muscles you didn't know you had. Every lie told about you was creating space for greater truth to emerge through you. The conspiracy against you was actually a conspiracy for your elevation, orchestrated by divine forces that knew you needed this trial to become who you're meant to be. Consider the timing of everything that's led to this moment. The way certain people entered your life just when you needed them. The way certain information came to light at exactly the right moment. The way your intuition guided you to make decisions that seemed random but proved crucial. None of this was accidental. The universe has been playing chess while your enemies were playing checkers, and tonight the checkmate becomes visible to everyone. The most satisfying aspect is that you achieved this without compromising who you are. You didn't have to lie to expose their lies. You didn't have to manipulate to defeat their manipulation. You didn't have to scheme to unravel their schemes. You remained yourself, and that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. Their own methods destroyed them. The lack of integrity that enabled their conspiracy also ensured its eventual collapse. The willingness to betray that they used as a weapon became the weapon used against them. They created the conditions for their own downfall through the very choices they made to bring about yours. This is the difference between authentic power and manufactured influence. They achieved temporary tactical victories through deception, but those methods contained the seeds of their own destruction. You, by maintaining integrity, built something that couldn't be torn down because it was founded on truth. The confession happening tonight represents more than just the exposure of lies. It's the universe's declaration that truth ultimately prevails. It's cosmic confirmation that authenticity is stronger than artificiality. It's divine validation that those who remain true to themselves will outlast those who build their lives on deception. Remember how this began, with you standing in the eye of their hurricane, watching their world implode while you remained untouchable. That image returns now, transformed and elevated. You're still standing, but now everyone can see what you always knew. Their storm had no power over your foundation. The false narrative they built has become evidence of their corruption. Every lie they told reflects on their character. Every manipulation they attempted exposes their true nature. Every scheme they executed reveals who they really are beneath their carefully constructed masks. Tonight, as their confession pours forth, destroying the elaborate fiction they built around you, remember this moment. Remember how it felt to maintain your truth when everything around you was lies. Remember the strength it took to remain yourself when powerful forces tried to redefine you. Remember that you survived not by becoming like your enemies, but by being so authentically yourself that their attacks became their own undoing. You are chosen, and this experience has proven it beyond any doubt. You survived their worst attacks and maintained your sanity when they tried to make you question reality. You held on to your integrity when they tried to convince you that you were the problem. You preserved your authentic self when they attempted to rewrite your story. The storm they created to destroy you has passed, leaving you stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Their confession is happening now. Their truth is emerging. Your vindication is complete. You didn't just survive their attack. You transformed it into your triumph. This is what it means to be chosen. Not that you're exempt from attacks, but that you're capable of turning those attacks into advantages. Not that you won't face lies, but that you'll emerge from them with your truth shining brighter. Not that you won't encounter enemies, but that you'll defeat them simply by being who you are. The person confessing tonight thought they were writing your ending when they started their campaign against you. Instead, they were writing their own. They thought they were building your prison when they constructed their lies. Instead, they were building their own cage. They thought they were destroying your future when they attacked your character. Instead, they were ensuring that your future would be built on the solid foundation of proven truth. As their words spill out tonight, exposing every detail of their conspiracy, you stand vindicated not just in the eyes of others, but in the universal court of justice. The truth they tried to bury has resurrected itself through their own confession. The authentic story they tried to rewrite has proven itself more powerful than their fiction. You are chosen, you are vindicated, you are victorious, not because you fought them with their own weapons, but because you remained yourself when they tried to force you to become something else. Your authentic power, the very thing they tried to destroy, has become the force that destroyed them instead. Look, you already know the game is rigged. And if you're paying attention, you know the walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. When you live by the day at the market's command, where profit and property rule the land, to be heard, to be held, to be dealt a fair hand, these are the things that a people demand, and we hear you. The obsidian inner order has paywalls, yes. Those who stand with us, who fuel this mission, they give us ammunition to fight the archons, to push back against the machine, to go deeper, to uncover more. And as our thank you, paid members get access to a 1-hour live, personalized weekly group tarot reading guidance, insight and clarity for the road ahead. But kicking a man for being down on the floor, that's something we cannot ignore. That's why starting today, you can steal the Astral Atom exclusive daily newsletter for free, no paywall, no catch. Just join the Patreon free tier, link in the description. This is the start of our conversation with you, and it's bi-directional. You can reply to any email we send you. We'll read it, we'll hear you, and we'll do our best to get an answer to you from the universe itself. If you can support, we need you. If you can't, take what's free. The Obsidian Inner Order is open. Now let's get back to work. The walls that closed in on them tonight were built with their own hands, brick by brick, lie by lie. The confession pouring from their lips is the inevitable consequence of building a life on deception. And you, standing in your truth, watching their fabricated world collapse, are living proof that authenticity is the ultimate power. This is your moment of complete validation. Everything you suspected was true. Everyone you thought was against you was. Every instinct you had about being targeted was accurate. But more than that, this is your moment of transformation. You're not the same person who entered this trial. You're stronger, wiser, more powerful. You've been forged in fire and emerged as something extraordinary. The truth being told tonight doesn't just clear your name, it elevates it. You're no longer just someone who was falsely accused. You're someone who maintained integrity under impossible pressure. You're someone who held on to truth when surrounded by lies. You're someone who proved that authentic power cannot be destroyed by manufactured attacks. Chosen one, tonight marks the end of their deception and the beginning of your elevation. The truth they're finally telling about the lies they built against you is more than confession. It's your coronation. The crown they tried to steal from you returns to its rightful place, and everyone can see that you were always the true sovereign of your own story.